Okay, we are now live, and Illa says but. So hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. This is the FBA Wiki workshop. And my name is Madworld. I am a community member of the Furry Basketball Association and also currently a committee member. We'll see what happens in the next week or two. I wanted to share some tips and tricks that I have for editing the FBA Wiki. And to do that, we have to kind of go over some really basic stuff first. But the other thing I want to say too is if you have any questions you'd like to ask me, go for it. I will answer those. If they are kind of specific to something I might say, that's a great question, let's talk about it after stream. So don't take any offense if it's not something I'm not going to be able to answer right away. But I do want to be as helpful as possible because this is a workshop. It's not me talking to you directly. I'm more comfortable doing a stream format than Discord chats, so that's why we're here in Picardo instead. But I will be uploading this to YouTube later, and from there you'll be able to watch it if you miss anything. So let's just go over what we're going to talk about. We have to just kind of go over the basics of what the like how to use the wiki, and then we'll get into again editing a team page, a players page, adding a statistics box to your players page, uploading images and files to the wiki, building your user profile, and maybe you want to divide your bio into sections or start building out a biography that's been already uploaded. A lot of player pages tend to be at first just the drafty bio, but obviously players evolve over time. As they join the league, they grow as characters. So we do want to encourage the growth of the wiki page for that player as well, to represent as best as possible what that character is all about. So we're going to start with just some really quick basic editing. Notice that I'm logged in as my username. You will only be able to edit the wiki if you have a user account. So if you don't have one right now, click this register button and there will be directions on how to set up an account. You will have to email Rourke. He will set up the account for you, but from there you can set your password and whatnot. So that's really just like the most important thing. If you don't have an account yet, that's how you get one. So I'm going to first go over just basic editing code. To do that, I'm going to use one of my two guinea pigs for this, which is Lance. Hey there. Yeah, the commissioner's players get to be the guinea pigs for this demonstration, whether they like it or not. Also tell me if there's any stream issues with quality or like if my voice is too loud or something. So any page on the wiki can be edited by clicking edit at the top here. The other thing I'll mention just really quick is the experience for editing on your phone sucks. It's designed for desktop computers. I'm sure all of you know that by now, but that's not likely to change anytime soon unless we update to a different platform that supports mobile editing. But for now, this is what we have. Click edit at the top here to look at the code behind this whole page. And what you'll see is this amazingly texty interface. I don't want to get into any of the specifics of this stuff yet, but you'll notice that here is all the like basic information about Lance. There's a section here of a bunch of links and things about All-Star Week. And then we have here what the actual text of the article is. And some things will be highlighted like this with what we call bolding. I guess not parentheses, but apostrophes. So the great thing about this interface is that actually it will tell you how to do any kind of formatting you want to do right up here. If you click this help dropdown, it tells you how to do any kind of linking, formatting, etc. So if you want to make something italic text, you only use 2 apostrophes on either side of your text. If you want something to be bold, it's 3. And something to be bold and italic, you kind of do some math. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So if I wanted to make this bold and italic, I would add 2 to each side of his name. And then if I make a change, but I don't want to, I want to make sure that it looks correctly, the way I want it. Yeah, Shay, I only saw this today as well, this help guide. And once I found it, I was like, yes, this will make it so awesome. So preview, and here you go. Now it's bolded and italicized. So I will do this whenever I make a change to a page. I will make the change in this text here, and then I will click preview. Preview does not save the change, but if you're going to break something, it really helps to see what it looks like first before you save it. So anything that is like basic wiki text like this, you can find out how to do it by clicking this help dropdown. So internal link is like another page on the wiki, which you would have to write out the name of that page first, and then you use this symbol, which I call a separator, and then you put whatever text you want the label to be. So if I wanted to make a page to, let's say, here, I'm going to type one out right now. I wanted to link from Lance's page to Matthew Silvius. I could type Matthew Silvius like this, with these 2 brackets on either side, and it would just put a straight link to Matt Silvius's name there at the top. Or I can use that separator and type something custom, like that crazy weasel dude from Dakota. And when I do that, and I use that separator symbol, I can now customize the label to be whatever I want. It will still go to the page Matthew Silvius if I click it. Now, if I click it right now, it's not going to do it because I'm in editing mode. I can always open the link in a new tab. But yeah, JW is right. The preview option is like your best friend for doing any kind of changes. But in addition to that, there's this help guide that will walk you through doing some of the basic format code. And even if you're like super scared to do some of this stuff, I do believe like with some of these other tools here, if I were to just, let's delete that for now. If I wanted to just highlight the text that I've written and bold it, I can do that. I can click the B for bold. I can undo changes. No, maybe I can't. That didn't work. Interesting. I can increase the size of the font. And when I do that, it will show a bigger size font. So there are tools up here to help you if you don't want to have to go search for what all the different things are. There's even like an insert picture gallery that we'll get to in a second here. I'm going to use a different page other than Lance's to do stuff like that. But yeah, that's the first tip that I wanted to share to kick this whole thing off. There is an abundance of information out there on the web that will help you in doing some of this stuff. But if it's super simple and basic, you can use the tools here, or you can click this help drop down and find out how to do certain things. And then it gives you a preview here as well as what it will look like when you do it. Any other questions about simple? Well, I shouldn't say they're simple. Nothing on a wiki editing is all that simple. But anything that's about like how to type and do a certain type of format. Okay, cool. I know there's gonna be a 10 to 15 second delay, so I have to wait kind of long for any answers to come in. And then of course if you're typing out. But I wanna skip ahead anyway to some of the really cool stuff that's on the wiki. So the FBA Wiki is pretty advanced in terms of like we have this universe of characters that we've designed, and it's all getting recorded to this wiki. And that's what really it keeps me so invested and interested in this league, because there's such depth to all the information that we've gathered over the years. Now we're going on, 10 plus years of canon changes and differences and everything. So whenever I have a question about, what is the equivalent for this term in the FBA, or maybe I just want to know, like, who won the 1982 FBA championship? Random questions like that nobody would know right off the bat, unless you're, I don't know, ultra nerd. I go to the wiki for that information. One thing that I think a lot of people miss out on is some of the pages that we have set up that kind of capture all this information. So I'm going to go to this page called FBA Info. Where is it? I thought it was just titled FBA Info. Well, here's my first mistake on stream. I think it's category FBA Info. Yeah, I had it right the first time. Okay, so category FBA Info, and it's called a category for the reason that I'll get to in a minute, which is it's used as a kind of like a filing cabinet, and it contains all these different pages that are around the subject of FBA information. We've talked about basic editing, but I want to just talk about basic searching. And categories can help you a lot in finding certain information about certain things. So here, when I typed category FBA info, and I would just make a mental note that this page exists because it's not very easy to find at the moment. But we have information about who was the team staff for each year of our league, going back to 2013 when I think we first introduced like a formal staff. FBA Lingo is the page that is open to anybody to edit. But it's just terms that we've come up with for like basketball terms that are specific to our universe. We have a page that's for the FBA universe itself. If you have questions about regions, diet, creating hybrid characters, all that stuff. There's a culture page as well. And these pages are open to interpretation. They're not the definitive It's not definitive information, but it's definitely kind of what's come up over the years. So we have pages on that stuff, and it's all under this FBA info tree. We also have a draft candidate resource. So if somebody is new to the league, or maybe you just want kind of a guidance on how to create a draft candidate, I will always point people to this. And I think it's just important if you're using the FBA Wiki to know that this exists, so that when new people join our community, you can share this link with them and they have something to start learning about how things work. We also have stuff here that's about like stats. Now, TCW, you asked a question about adding stats to a player page. I'll get to that because there's a couple things that make it a little bit complicated. And it does involve possibly some work. But we have a page here about, I guess, who was the leading character in each statistic for the past season. So that's cool. These things are super easy to... This is the Hovo stats box. This was developed by Buck Hopper. These are really simple templates that are easy to add to any player page. So I'm going to go over that in a second too. As you can see, this particular character is not on a team right now, so the code is broken. Oops. Buck needs to add an FA option to his template. But yeah, there's all sorts of links on the side here for information. The other one I wanted to go over, just because it's kind of the topic, is the trade block page. This came up semi-frequently in the team staff channel on Discord. And I think Delta, and thank you Delta, by the way, she went through and updated this page so that it didn't have any old information in it anymore. But if you are a primary contact for any of these teams, you have the ability to add whatever you want here to define what you are willing to put up in a trade and what you might want. So let me go to Montana here. And you'll notice that each of these sections of the page have an edit button next to it. That's the great thing about using sections. If you don't want to mess around with the entire page, you can just click edit here. And you can see here I've got Mad is analyzing. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my team this year. But I can click edit here. And it will only show me the Montana Howlers section. So this is the heading. If you remember when we looked at the help drop down, this is the formatting for creating a heading. So 3 equals signs on either side and a link text to the Montana Howlers page. Then we have a lot of mumbo jumbo, and I didn't talk about this, but this is a table formatting. Any curly brackets that you see create like a square within you can put text into. So I would advise you, if you are new to editing wiki text, don't worry about messing with this stuff too much. This is the language that is telling the wiki how to display the table that you're creating. Focus on what is like the customized text here. So if you remember in my preview or in my section here, I had Mad is analyzing. And that's this is where I would put anything that I have that I would be willing to trade. So by looking at preview, I can see what I've done so far. Go back to wiki text tab. And if I wanted to replace that Mad is analyzing text with, I don't know, I'm willing to trade Derek Kim. Even though I don't technically have Derek on my team, I'm trading him now. And so now I put that name of that character in brackets, and it's showing up as a link. If I remove those brackets, it will only show the name. And then notice too that I had to put it in that location for it to appear right there. If I were to move this, say, somewhere else, like right here on accident, it's either going to disappear or it's going to do something even insane, more insane. So be wary of where you put this text, but I would just write over the text that exists there already. That's the easiest way to make sure you don't break something. But again, JW and I agree. Like, going between preview and wiki text here is the best way to ensure success. So if you are, again, a primary contact, this page might be interesting to you. But not everybody here is a primary contact, so I won't focus on it too much longer. The only other thing I will talk about today is transactions. I don't think a lot of people know that this page exists, because Faded does tweet out whenever there is a transaction. And a transaction means like somebody gets traded or they're signed to another team, stuff like that. And he's tracking every single move that gets that happens in the league on these pages. So right now we're looking at last year's transactions. Let's look at this year's transactions by clicking the 2021 link. And here so far, we've recorded that these teams have done these trades with players. And we haven't opened free agency yet, so there are no signings, but they will populate here. The reason I bring this up now is for, again, if you're a new primary contact, this is an important page to know about. There will also be additional links to pages about who is available for signing, and they all appear on the left sidebar here. I would pay attention to the regular season section as well as the off-season section, because this is where things are happening that are relevant information to the current moment. Which leads me into the draft. This is the 2020 FBA draft page. And here is all the information that you'd want to know about how many picks each team has. Rip Illa, I'm sorry. Maybe you can trade for a pick. And then the draft order. So Texas has the first pick in the upcoming draft. And you'll notice here too, like some of these picks got traded. So Baltimore traded their first round pick to Dakota. And then all the players that have been accepted as players into this year's draft pool appear down here. And you'll notice that each of them have links that we can click. Links are fun. So let's click just a link off the top of my head. I don't know whose player this is. But we just added these pages today, so I haven't even looked at these much. But we'll notice that the name of the player appears at the top, obviously, and then there's this section about the candidate and their biography. And each of these things are kind of a different thing of editing. But then at the bottom here is this category section. So I wanted to start kind of doing categories for my players page. And the reason categories are cool is because it helps groups things together. So my player that I'm going to use for example in kind of showing how to edit some things is Yvonne. So this is my draftee page, one of my draftees for 2020. And the biography, as well as information about the character, appears here. So I want to do a few things. I want to break apart the biography into sections. I want to add my player's art to this page. And I want to add categories to the bottom here so that people know that, first of all, this character is from Serbia. So he's a Serbian player from Europe. The character is a Balkan chamois, which is it's kind of like an antelope. And, well, the 2020 draft candidate link is already added here, but this will be replaced eventually with a link for players that were in the 2020 draft, because the player hasn't necessarily been drafted. But the other thing I might want to do too is add some links to things that are in this text that have pages on the wiki, such as the EFBL. So we're going to do that too. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to do is add my draftee's picture to this page. So how do I do that? So I'm just going to go back to the lists here of things that I'm going to do. We're at this point. So I'm going to edit a player's page. Well, the easiest way to upload images is to use the front page, or the page here on the side under Tools. Upload file. So I'm going to actually right-click this and open it in another tab. So again, to find that link, I went down on the sidebar here under Tools and clicked Upload File. And that brings me to a page that looks like this. And you can see on this page a bunch of directions on how to include a file on a page. Let's focus on uploading the picture first. So I'm going to click Choose File. And I don't know if it's going to show you this because it's in a different window, but I'm going to go search through my files for my picture. Oh, I need to actually save it as a PNG. Okay, give me 20 seconds. Actually, it didn't take that long. Okay, it's been saved. Okay. And this is a work in progress picture too, so it's going to be replaced eventually. But I tracked down my picture of Yvonne, and it's now showing up as Divakozic 2020.png. I don't imagine any of you will be uploading crazy formats of pictures or whatever, but here's all the different types of files you can upload. You'll notice some of them aren't picture files. Like you can upload a doc, a Word doc. You can also upload a PDF. And then down here, it shows what the file name is going to be. This is important for putting it on the page on my wiki. So I'm actually going to copy this just for reference. And then in summary here, you can type whatever you want, but usually I put the name of the artist. So art by Madworld. And I mean, I don't care. I'm not going to worry about licensing for now. I don't need to watch the file. Let's upload it. So click Upload File. It will take you to a page to show you that the file has been successfully uploaded. Now, I've noticed in the past where you'll do this, like let's say you're updating a picture that already exists on the wiki, sometimes it will show the old picture and it's like it's still updating. So you have to wait like 5 minutes for it to appear. So if that happens to you, don't worry about it too much. But if it's a brand new picture, here's all the information. And here's Yvonne. So my picture is now on the wiki. If I were to go back to the front page of the wiki, it's going to show up in the latest artwork section. So here it is. And I notice here that MW has uploaded Andreas, and Mitch has his pictures of Adge, and I believe, yeah, Draken uploaded Aldrich pictures. So if you want to follow along and go ahead and upload your pictures now, go ahead and do that. That might be a good idea for some of you who are watching right now live. But my picture is now here. So I want to insert this picture into my biography section here. All right. And I also want to create a gallery. So when I get new art created of Yvonne, it will appear in the gallery alongside this picture. So let's focus first on getting the picture here in the bio section. To do that, I need to click Edit. Obviously, we're updating the page. And right here, first line in this document, underneath where it says Draft Candidate 2020, it says Image. What we're going to do is we're going to put the name of the image in. And remember, we copied it to our clipboard. So all I have to do is Control V to paste. And there's the name of the image there. Now, I might have to put it in brackets. I'm not sure. But I think you can just put it in straight as text there. So let's make sure this is working. If I click Preview, I should be able to see my picture there. And there you go. So Yvonne now has a face. So let me know if you want me to walk through that again. You can do some specific editing to that picture by changing its width, which if you wanted to do that, you would type in like 50 pixels like this. And then if I go to preview, it's going to be a super small image. But you have the ability to change the size of the picture as well. So now it's much bigger than the default size. All right, the next thing we want to do is create a gallery. And galleries use templates. So the easiest way to do this would be to scroll down to the bottom of all this text. And I'm going to click that button that was in the help. Sorry, it was under advanced. And I'm going to click Insert Picture Gallery. It's this button here of a bunch of pictures on top of each other. So I clicked it. What appears down here are these tags called gallery tags. And you need to have one that says gallery in it in front of the text. And then you need one that appears after it with this slash at the end that closes the gallery section. It's very like HTML, if you've done any HTML stuff before. But now I have slots for 2 pictures to go into. If I were to go into preview right now and look at what this looks like, it's going to show a default picture of, for whatever reason, Theodore Rockwell. That's weird. Why did we choose him as the default image? Okay, it doesn't matter. That's really funny, actually. But we still have that name of that picture copied to our clipboard. So I can replace the text here of example.jpg and paste my picture in here instead. I want to keep the name of the file here because, again, we clicked upload file. It's being considered a file by the wiki. That's why the title also has the word file in it. So that's important. You can also put PDFs in a gallery. You can put any kind of file in a gallery. But really, you know, it's for art. So I've copy pasted the name of the picture in there, and I have the ability to put a caption. So I'm just going to put, he's dribbling, duh, as my caption. And if I preview that, then here it shows up. You'll notice that it's just the pictures that are straight into the wiki. There is no section that I've created yet. So I'm also going to go and create some sections in my wiki. To do that, I'm going to use that formatting tool to create a section. Right here. Let's do level 4. I'm going to type art and stories. You'll notice here I also have a section about personality. Let's just get that into a heading right now. I can do that by, again, I highlighted the text. Level 4. And now I have sections for personality and art and stories. Pretty straightforward, not too complex. It just helps design things. If I only want that one picture to be included for now, you can always add more later. You just have to follow this same format with the file, name of the picture, the separator, and then if you want to add a caption, it goes after the name, or after the separator. So that's what I have for now on this page. Well, actually, that's not true. There's one more thing I want to do, and that was categories. Now, you'll recall that we had a category for a draft candidate. And I believe, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling up and down right now. I'm sorry if that makes you dizzy. I'm looking for the name of the category where that's been included. Huh, maybe that's just part of the template. Okay, well, categories are specialized links that go to, again, kind of like file cabinets that contain a bunch of different pages. I want to type one for, again, he's a player that was born in Serbia. So category players born in, let's do Europe for now, because I don't think we have one for specifically Serbia. And the only thing that sucks about categories, which I just remembered, is that they don't show up in the preview. So maybe they're not that big of a deal right now, but I like to use categories to just, you know, put things into bins. So I'm done with this page for now. I'm going to save it. Oh, one more thing. I can also create links by using those brackets. We have a page for the EFBL, so let's do that. All right. Save page. And now my Drafty Players page has my art, it has my personality section, and it has an art and stories gallery. And you can see here I added that category for ungulate players. It now appears as a clickable link down here. If I were to click this, it'll take me to a page of a bunch of other players that have this tag. They're not super used right now, but I'm hoping in the future that we get these used more often, because I find them to be super important for, well, you know, finding different species of players. You'll notice that this ungulate players category is in another category called player species. And we have a bunch of these pages set up under player demographics. So birthplace and species, if we wanted to look for players that were born in France, for example, or Italy, UK, we can do that as well. And here are all our UK players. So, any questions at this point? The next thing I want to go over is the stats stuff. Yeah, the next thing I want to go over is stats, because I actually skipped ahead with the image thing. I need a drink. And by drink, I mean, I don't know how it's pronounced. Bay, antioxidant, flavored water. I'm trying to be healthy. It's not working. Okay, let's talk about stats. This is what is very new to me. So if I can't do everything correct, you know, I'm just prefacing that right now. As we've mentioned, or maybe we haven't mentioned it, there are these statistic boxes that now exist on some pages. And they're fun in that at least they get you information super quickly. There are a couple other things that exist too for older players. So I went to Lance's page just to show this. There's these regular season stats boxes, and you'll notice they only really go up to 2017. We haven't been using these in recent years, and the reason for that is because they have to be manually entered. And I believe Midge was the one who would go and do this on any player who had stats for the previous season. It was a lot of back-end work. If we go to Matt's page here and we scroll down to his section, he has this table. And you'll notice that this table here is per season, the team that he was on for that season, and then a bunch of these I guess abbreviations that mean certain things. If you aren't familiar with these abbreviations, there's information documents on the wiki that also explain them. But again, I believe that he, Faded, is entering this information manually. So I will show you how this can be done, but I have to keep it kind of only to one season because it's a bit complex. It's a more advanced thing to do. But if you watch, you know, what I do through this video, then hopefully it will help you create your own. But he also has the current season stats. So we're going to add this first to a player that exists already, has played for at least one season, and that's Andreas. So Andreas is one of my players. He is a guard for the Biloxi Voodoo. Give it a couple minutes to load the page. And yeah, so you'll notice here I have a bunch of different categories for my player. I have a 2016 draftee. He's an active player. He was picked by Biloxi. He plays for Biloxi. He's a K9, and he was born in Europe. We really need to get that. Actually, it could be more specific than Europe, but I want to add that stats box page. So to do that, I actually have to look up what the name of the template is here. but we're going to use something called a template. Now, what is a template? It's a special box that contains information. And depending on what you type into sections of it, it will return different information. So, the template is always surrounded by two of these curly brackets on either side. The name of the template appears here, Hovo player stats. There's a border separator here and then the name of the player. What we're going to do here is we're going to copy this entire text. Thank you, Faded. You're amazing, wherever you are. And we're going to go to my page and insert that. I'm going to put it all the way at the bottom here. Actually, I might have to put it above this box, which I'll get to in a second. Current season. Now, if I were to preview this right now, some of you might know what's going to happen. It's going to show Matt's stats. So all I need to do is copy or change this text with my player. And once I do that, watch what happens. Now all my player's stats appear here. So I didn't enter any of this text into that box. You saw, all I did is type the name of the player, but now it is pulling from the database of wiki information and populating each of these things. To do that involves creating templates. I'm not going to cover that in this session because templates are very complex and you would need to show a lot of persistence in testing things out. It's also, this particular template, again, I didn't create it. It was created by Buck, and Buck is like the pro when it comes to wiki editing, more so than me. So for now, though, if all I wanted to do was include this information about my player, that's great. It would be here. But this only shows, as you know, current information of the past season. But we want to track, multiple seasons. So how do we do that? Well, we can look at the code that is on Matt Silvius's page for yearly stats. So I'm going to focus now on this table because this is formatted pretty well for what we're going to need to do to create something like this. Excuse me. So let's click Edit, the little edit button next to the stats section, and look at this code. Here again, we have two templates being used. We have one called StatBox, and we have one called FMBox. FMBox is a wiki template. I don't know what FM stands for right offhand, but all the information for this stats section is listed here. That actually might be his 2017 stats. I think what he did is we're talking about, yeah, actually he's blocked that out. Okay, forget that. Forget what I said. The one we're interested in is this career stats line template. So if this is something you want to do, write down the name of this template. Career stats line, all one word. And I'm not going to necessarily recommend that you go to his page to copy paste all this text. But the challenging thing about doing this is that you'll notice it involves a lot of just like random numbers. What is going on in this code is that it's actually displaying each season per line, and then this is the line of numbers for each of those cells in the table. So if I look at this and I look at the table here, it's 2015-16, DAK, 57, this thousands number, etc., etc. If I go back and look at this, it's in order. DAK, 57, thousands number. This is really the only way that you're going to be able to have a season stats table on your player's page. It sounds daunting, but there's one thing that can make it easy, and that is the wiki and knowing how to copy paste. So let me demonstrate what I would do if I wanted to do this. First, I'm going to copy this code from Matt's page. If you want to copy the code from my page later, go for it. I'm going to go back to editing Andreas's page, because again, Andreas is my player. I don't want to edit Matt Silvius's page. I'm going to create a space at the bottom of the page to post this code to. So I've pasted now this career stats line template code. Now the first thing I would need to do is track down how he did in his first season. But right now it would be more simple for me to just demonstrate one season. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to delete all this text because I'm only focused on having a line for one season. And we're going to leave the career total too. And I'm going to change these numbers to lead 1 and lead 2 just to keep this template from breaking. We only have 2 lines, so we're only going to have 2 of these leads and 2 of these lines. I'm going to get the stats for Andreas from the 2019-2020 season. And to do that, I'm going to look again to our handy guide on the left-hand bar here. And under FBA Assets and Data, we have a link that goes to 2020 season stats. Now, I think this will work. I don't know why it wouldn't. Famous last words. This lists every player that played last season and what their stats were. And if you notice, for the most part, the numbers line up. There's going to be some things that we have to change here that I'll get to in a minute. But if we were to copy paste our players' stats from this page, we should be able to get the information we need to add our stats box here. So I'm going to search for Andreas's name by sorting the table by clicking this arrow here that puts alphabetical first. Scroll down to where Andreas's stats are listed right here. And now I'm going to copy this entire line. Whoa. To here. Copy. And now if I paste this right into this, let's see what happens. I'm going to paste as plain text. Okay. So it just requires a little bit of formatting here. You'll notice when I pasted it, it created these spaces between each, box. All I should have to do here is put a comma between each of them so that it's formatted like this. So I'm going to do that super quickly. Now would be a great time to ask questions if you have them while I'm typing this out. But this is literally going to be your best bet for adding stats from each season to your player's page. We don't have a fancy template for it. All right, let's see what this looks like. going to look at preview. Are you ready for the madness? Okay. That actually turned out really, really well. So now I have this stats section that I'm starting to make. You'll notice some of the numbers go past here, but everything else for the most part lines up. So we were looking at this line being Matt Silvius's career stats. So the number of games that my player played in was all of them last year. Field goals made, field goals attempted, it all lines up with the columns of things that were listed here. Field goals made, 550, and we go back here, 550. These last two rows, I think they are special information about this particular year. So I don't see an assists per TO on here. We're just going to delete the last two columns from this. So I'm going to go back to editing, and we're just going to delete those last two things. Go back to preview. Here's my stats table. And you can do this for every year that your player has played. So if you wanted the 2019-2020 statistics, it'll be in the page called 2020 statistics. If you need the 2018-2019 season statistics, it's the same page name, but the year number has changed. And you can do the same copy paste from here. Just remember to delete those last two lines. Are there any questions about this particular thing? Because this is, it's probably the most complicated thing I've had to explain. I don't even know who's still here. Okay, cool. And I'm actually going to put this into a section called statistics. No questions. Pas de questions. Okay, cool. So yeah, what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to continue building on this page. So if you want to follow along at some point in the future, you can look at what I've done on this page to see my full stats information for my player. And this is probably the easiest. It is, for me, the easiest way to do something like this. But now I have plenty of information about how the player is doing in the league from this viewpoint. If you wanted to know what some of these statistics meant, I believe there is information explaining that somewhere in the wiki. Or you could just ask the chat, you don't have to be afraid. But some of these are easy to Google as well if you don't know what the abbreviations mean, such as steal, blocked shots, personal fouls, stuff like that. So let me save this. And let's see what it looks like. Finished product. I have a feeling there's other people doing stuff right now because this is taking a little bit longer than it has. Yeah, there we go. My stats and my current season info are now here. You'll notice that this, I'm assuming that this template will not update until we get the new season stats started. So you won't notice any changes to this information. It will still say your player is like in year 4, stuff like that. And when the new season starts, you might notice a lot of it. Like if you have a really, let's say, big name player, you might notice a lot of random greens and reds. I don't really know what the colors mean on this template because, again, I didn't create it. I think red means you're just below average in that category for that player type, but I might be wrong there. But yeah, as you build these season template lines, you'll see how your player is kind of changed and developed over the years. And that's what I got on this. Will it keep track if your player was traded? If you are referring to this template, it will change. The only thing that you'll see is you'll see the change of the name here will be a different team name. The other thing you'll see is that here in the top right of every player's page is this section for it's like data about Andreas. Whenever a player is traded, the career history gets updated here. It will show that they now play for a different team. And all the colors of the page always change when that happens too. So it's pretty obvious that they play for the Biloxi Voodoo or whatever. I think there's just one more thing I wanted to go over today, and that was, what was it? I had a brief moment of remembrance, and then it faded from me. Pun intended. Let me see if I can remember quickly. I thought about going over creating a new page. So the thing is, if you wanted to create a new page on the wiki, there's nobody that's going to tell you you can't. I've been debating about creating a page about Halloween, which is the event that the Montana Howlers hold annually. We have it as a section in the FBA page, but it's not its own page. I can see people have been super busy in uploading stuff, so that's cool. I'm going to go to the Montana Howlers page right now, because one thing I thought of doing during this training session is creating a page for my GM. I'm not going to do it now because I want to keep this not too long. We've already been going about an hour. But any text that is in red here shows that the page doesn't exist. If I wanted to create a page for my player, I could easily do that. What I would suggest that you do when you're doing that is look for another example on the wiki where somebody has a general manager with a page. So I'm gonna click this just to entertain the idea. What's gonna happen is when I get this page, it says creating James, and it's a blank template. Well, that doesn't help me a whole lot in knowing what I need to do to create this page. So I'm gonna open the page of somebody else that I know has a page. Bud Borman is my old head coach for Dakota when I was coaching them about 4 or 5 years ago. And this page, I can copy this template for doing my own GM player. So if I were to do that and copy the code here, I could get started with updating the information here. The only thing I think that would need to be changed is the actual template. This might be the wrong template. So again, I'm not going to necessarily go over this right now because I'm not prepared to. But and he's about to turn 50. But anyway, the last thing I wanted to talk about before I stop recording and answer any questions that you have is the ability to customize your own page. Now, why would you want to do this? For me, it's really important if I wanted to learn more about the person who's involved in the league to have a page to look at. What I'm talking about is this page at the top here, your user page. And user pages are always prefaced with the word user in the title and then the name of the user. So here I have included some information about who I am, how I discovered the FBA, my characters, and then some additional information that you might find interesting, because I try to archive as much as possible as well, even if it's stuff that's no longer being used or whatever. I've already included my draftees on this list. The other thing I can do is change my avatar. It's not necessary, though. I don't think it actually appears anywhere. As you can see, I haven't done that. But the reason why you'd want to do this is so that people know from the wiki point of view who you are. When I go to the bottom of this front page here, which, by the way, we haven't talked about stories at all yet. I just want to quickly explain that if you're going to upload a story to the wiki, what you would need to do is type in the name of the title here, the story, click submit, and then you copy paste. I can go over that briefly in a second here. FBA staff. If I were to look at the FBA staff section here at the bottom and look at who the primary contacts are for the league, some of them will have pages, other ones don't. And it always kind of is sad that I don't see a whole lot about who these people are. Like if I were trying to get more information about who, I don't know, I'm going to pick on somebody here. Let's do QG. I don't have a whole lot of information here. For whatever reason, the profile pic is Alphonse. I don't know if that's necessarily what QG wants, but I'm not going to complain. So I don't know anything about this wiki user at this moment. There's no text on their page either. So I find these pages to be kind of additional, really useful. The other reason why you'd want to do this is so that you have a space with which to play around with code that you're writing. So if I go back to my user page, I'm going to close out of this for now. And I have a user page here. I also have now this discussion page. And it's called User Talk Madworld. I use this page to do a bunch of stuff that, like if I'm just testing how something's going to look before I post it somewhere else, I have the ability to do it here. It's my own personal page, and if I think something's going to get broken or I want to mess around with it in my own place, this is the place to do it. We haven't talked about this discussion tab at all, but it's definitely open for anybody to use this. It appears on every page, so if you wanted to have a discussion about a particular player, like you had a question about, I have a question about this person. And let's say my question is, why does this character have our commissioner's name as a surname? That would appear here as a question that somebody could respond to later and answer, and then it's kind of documented So if you have like questions about characters, I would kind of find it cool if we did something similar to this. The only example I know of this existing somewhere is on the front page itself, where EA had a couple questions back in the day about the draft combine. But if you wanted to keep kind of questions out of the realm of the Discord, if you think it's going to get lost in there, feel free to use this function, this discussion page. That's how other wikis operate. So yeah, if I wanted to include information about who I was or update some of this information, I can edit my own user page and do that. And it doesn't hurt anything to do this, so it's entirely optional, but I find it a great place to just keep information that I'm interested in without getting in the way of anybody else. I've got links to old FBA content. Yeah. So, the last thing I'll go over then is adding stories. So to add a story is a little bit easier than adding an image. We go back to this section on the front page of the wiki for latest stories, and all you need to do before you get started is type the name of your story in. Your story name has to be unique. So if somebody else already created a story called Big in Japan, now you can't use that story name anymore. So too bad. But I'm creating a story called Test. You'll get this page that's this special yellow color. And all you need to do is follow the directions here. Post, like if you're posting your text from another page, like if I wanted this to be my story, copy, paste. Everything has to go underneath this line as it instructs. And then the only thing that you would want to do, maybe, is type under here featured characters. It gives you directions step by step on how to do this. So if you want any characters to be tied to this, you can enter their name here. You can type the name of the author here. I believe that they let you do that automatically, though. I believe that's populated already. It's not. Interesting. All right, author is Madworld. Text written by. I haven't had to do this in forever, so I might not mess with this too much. Please write your name here. That's what I missed. Okay, there we go. Madworld. And that was not working. So I'm gonna avoid messing around with this. Because again, I didn't follow directions. Do not write or change anything below this line. Oops. So I'm not going to create this for now. I'm going to click cancel. And I'll delete this page later. The last thing I want to cover, the last thing, is that if you want to go over any of your anything else that's going on in the league, if you're just curious about what other stuff people are showing, we try to do our best by including artwork here. The latest stories are always posted here. But if you want to know about other changes and things that people are doing. I like to look at the recent changes page here, and this will list every edit that's been made on the wiki. So as you can see, Delta's been busy doing stuff during the stream. KitKoon's got stuff going on. Anon uploaded a picture. So, yeah. This is a great way to get caught up on what people have been doing as well. But on that note, I think I've gone through everything that I could possibly go through. So I'm opening the floor now to you guys. Is there anything you'd like me to demo quickly, or do you have any questions? If you've held on this long already, I'm very proud of you. Okay, yeah, thanks TCW. I know that this doesn't clear everything up. Certainly, if you wanted to message me and ask specific questions, you are totally able to do that. And I imagine that this is just kind of to get people started on doing things. I don't expect everybody to do everything I've demoed today, but even if you just wanted to start with your own players, we can totally do that now because we know that we can click the FBA draft link here. We have a list of all the new players that have been added to the league, and we could click one of them and say, hey, I want to upload my art of Skylar. And we have the ability to do that. And actually, you can see Skylar has sections here too. So I would suggest that this type of page would really benefit from putting into subsections. You're gonna work on Tyler's page? Cool. I will follow along with you. And again, you can message me on Discord if you have any questions. I'm going to actually end the recording now, but I will keep the stream open for any follow-up questions. So certainly thank you for watching this demo. If you have so far, well, if you have watched it all the way through, I really appreciate you sticking around. And like I said, I'm ending the recording, but I'm still going to be online for streaming and answering questions.